Hello there, my fellow myth and fantasy nerds. My name is Tanner, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Now that spooky season has left us until next year, for today's video, I actually wanted to introduce you all to some new D&D characters that I've created. Now that we have the fairies and the Harrogans as playable races, of course, you know your boy had to create some new characters for those races. So for today's video, I will be specifically introducing you to my fairy characters, and next week, I will introduce you to my Harrigan characters. Now, in D&D, fairies are, well, pretty much what you would expect them to be. Now, appearance-wise, all fairies tend to look like small elves with insectoid wings on their backs. However, aside from those, each fairy has a unique characteristic that differs between individuals. Now, when you create a fairy character, there's a Fae characteristic table where you can pick your character's unique characteristic, or you can choose to roll a d8, an 8-sided die for those of you who don't know, and have one randomly chosen for you. Also, from what I've read, if none of the characteristics on the table fit your character, you're free to come up with a characteristic all on your own. Now, my characters will all have one of the characteristics on the table, which they will describe to you when they introduce themselves. However, there are two extras on the table that none of my characters have. None of them are perpetually surrounded by a glittering mist, nor are they surrounded by a noticeable yet harmless chill. Also, you will most likely hear me mention the Summer Court a few times throughout this video. For context, the Summer Court, also known as the Seelie Court, is one of two Fae courts that rule over the entire Feywild, which is the extra-dimensional realm where all Fae creatures, including elves, centaurs, fairies, and the like, are native to. Now, the Summer Court is made up of mostly good-aligned Fae, and it represents/celebrates the more beautiful and wondrous aspects of nature. The Winter Court, also known as the Unseelie Court, is the second Fae court, and is the opposite of the Summer Court in pretty much every way. The Unseelie Fae are generally evil-aligned, and they represent and celebrate the darker and more macabre aspects of nature, if that makes sense. So on that note, as always, please make sure to leave a like on this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe down below. Please! It'll help me make more content! And without further ado, allow me to introduce to you the first of the D&D fairy characters that I've created. Comet? Thanks, Tana. Good day to ya. My name is Comet Spiritdreamer-Fairy Bard Extraordinaire. But please, just call me Comet. All my friends do. Now, I'm sure you want to hear my backstory. And oh, what a story it is. Picture it. A small fairy community hidden deep within the Feywilds, home playing to all Fey creatures, and a place of awe-inspiring natural beauty. Growing up, I used to love playing with the other fairy children in my community, and I loved playing pranks on others as well. However, one of my favorite activities of all time was learning my musical instrument. Soon, when I reached adulthood, I was summoned to the Summer Court, where Titania, the Summer Queen herself, gave me an assignment. Travel to the material plane, explore the sights, and report back to her with the findings. I gladly accepted, and traveled through a portal to the material plane. I've been exploring this world ever since. Now, as Tana mentioned before, all fairies have a unique trait that differs between individuals. In my case, my wings are not insectoid in nature, but rather avian. Now, when Tana plays me to the correct level, his plan is for us to specialize as a College of Creation bard, allowing me to tap into the very song of creation to use for varying effects in battle. As a bard, my best score is, of course, my charisma at 17, whereas my worst score is a tie between my strength and my dexterity, both of which are at 8. As for my alignment, I personally lean towards chaotic good. I'm essentially a being from a naturally free spirited plane with what I hope is a heart of gold. Anyway, it was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, of course, but it's time for you to meet the next character. Nightshade? Yes, Comet? Oh! Salutations to ya! My name is Nightshade Meadowmoon, and as with Comet over there, I am also a fairy. However, unlike him, I am not a bard, but a warlock. Now, my story is pretty much the same as Comet. However, when Queen Titania gave me the assignment, she also decided to make a warlock pact with me, granting me powers in exchange for exploring the material plane and reporting my findings to her. As for my alignment, I am also chaotic good, like Comet. However, unlike him, my wings are still insectoid in appearance. Instead, for me, my fate characteristic makes it so that not only are my wings insectoid, but my legs are as well. Now, as mentioned before, my patron is an Archfey, and not just an Archfey, but the Queen Regnant of the entire Summer Court. And when we made our pact, she gave me a spellcasting focus in the form of a pendant, shaped like a silver diamond with a blue star in the middle, which is Titania's sacred symbol. When Tana plays me to the correct level, he plans for me to take Pact of the Tome, where my patron will give me a Book of Shadows, which will contain 3 new cantrips for us to use in battle. As for my ability scores, my charisma is my highest at 18, and my lowest is, once again, my strength at 7. At any rate, it was fun getting to know you, of course, but I really gotta send you over to the next character. Hey, Bramble. Huh? Oh, hey there. My name's Bramble Moonglow, and like with Nightshade over there, I'm also a fairy warlock. Now, I have a similar story. However, when I reached adulthood, I had a vision while I slept, and in it I felt a large yet comforting presence. Do not be alarmed, the presence said to me. I am Gentle-Chris the Gentle. Gentle-Chris then revealed himself to me as a large moonstone dragon. Now, he told me all about his kind and how their hoard was not made of golden jewels like other dragons. Rather, they collected stories, ideas, fond memories, and other such things. He then offered me a deal. He would grant me a piece of his power, becoming my warlock patron, and in exchange, he wanted me to travel to the material plane and go on an adventure to create a story worthy of his collection. I gladly accepted, making a warlock pact with him, and traveled through a portal to the material plane. I've been exploring this world ever since. Now, like with the others, I am of the chaotic good alignment, and my fate characteristic is I have a small spectral horn on my forehead, almost like a short unicorn horn in a way. Now, when it comes to my patron, since he's one of a species of dragon that's native to the Feywild, Tana decided to flavor him as an Archfey. When we made our pact, he gave me a spellcasting focus in the form of a wand, seemingly carved from moonstone. When Tana plays me to the correct level, he plans on having us go a Pact of the Tome as well. As for my ability scores, my highest score as a Warlock is my Charisma at 18, and my worst score is once again my Strength at 11. What can I say? I'm fairly small. Anyway, it was quite the pleasure to make your acquaintance. However, it's time for you to meet the next character. Hey, Nova! What is it, Bramble? Oh, I see. Greetings to you. My name is Nova Talltree, and as with the others in this video, I am also a fairy. However, I am neither bard, nor am I warlock. Instead, I am a sorcerer, specifically a clockwork soul sorcerer. Now, my backstory is pretty much the same as the other fairies. Well, with me being born in the Feywild and living there until Queen Titania sent me to the material plane to study it and report back to her. As for my alignment, due to the chaotic bent of my Fey heritage canceling out the lawful bent of my clockwork soul origin, I am not chaotic good like the others, but rather neutral good. And in my case, my Fey characteristic is, well, I naturally smell like freshly baked brownies. Now, my highest scores are my Charisma as a sorcerer and my Constitution, both of which are at 17. And my worst score is my Strength at a 6. At any rate, I'm happy to meet you, of course, but I really should introduce you to the next character. Oh, Flame! Yes, Nova? My apologies, I'm easily startled. My name is Flame Glowstone, and I am a fairy druid. Now, I share a background with the other druid characters Tana has made so far. I used to live in a secluded druidic village deep in the forest. It was made up of all druids, of many different races and creeds, all working and living together in harmony with each other and nature. I used to play with all the little druid children, and I used to wander in the woods by myself. I was wandering the forest that fateful day. I was having some fun when I heard the sound of screams. I ran as fast as I could until I saw my village. Oh, horror of horrors! The village was completely devastated. The work of a rampaging white dragon. I could only stand and watch as the dragon further destroyed the village. It turned towards me, and I closed my eyes, waiting for the end. The dragon approached and sniffed at me. Then, for some reason that I have yet to understand, the dragon turned around and trundled off through the woods. The memory of that day still haunts me, and I vowed that day that I would find that dragon and avenge my village. Now, Tana's plan, once he replaces me, is for me to specialize as a Circle Wildfire Druid as soon as I reach the appropriate level. This is fitting, of course, due to the fact that since white dragons breathe ice instead of fire, it would be logical that fire would be able to defeat it. As for my ability scores, my highest score being a druid is my wisdom at 17, while my worst score is still my strength at 8. As for my alignment, like with most of the other fairies, I am chaotic good. And my Fey characteristic is the fact that my skin just naturally shimmers in a variety of colors. In my case specifically, these colors are different shades of red, orange, and yellow, as if there's a fire burning just underneath. Anyway, it was nice to meet you, of course, but I find communing with nature to be very common, so I think I'll go do that. Basil, you mind taking over from here? Hmm? Oh, of course, Flame! I'll take it over from here, don't worry. Good day to you. My name is Basil Dewbeard, and as with the others in this video, I am also a fairy. However, in my case, I am a fairy wizard. Now, I have a similar backstory to really most of the other fairies in this video. Born in the Feywild, Queen Titania giving me an assignment to explore the material plane. You get the idea. Now, like with most of the others, my alignment is chaotic good, and my Fey characteristic is similar to Bramble, the Warlock you met earlier. I have a small, spectral, unicorn-like horn on my forehead. Now, Tana's intent, as soon as he plays with me, is to specialize as an Order of Scribes wizard, as soon as I reach the correct level. Now, as for my ability scores, my best scores are my intelligence, since I'm a wizard, my constitution, and my charisma, all of which are at 14. As my worst score, once again, is my strength, though since that's at 11, it's not really the worst by a very wide margin. Anywho, it was a pleasure to meet you, of course, but this next character is getting real impatient to introduce himself, so I better let you meet him. Thorn? Finally! Took you long enough, Basil. Sheesh! Hey, name's Thorn. Thorn Silentwing-Fairy Barbarian. How you doing? So my backstory is pretty much the same as every other fairy you've met so far. You know, born in the Feywild, lived in the fairy community, Queen Titania wanted me to head to the material plane and explore, yada yada yada, not important. Now, once again, since Tana has not played me yet, I don't have a character level at this time. But the plan is, when he eventually does play me, I will take the Barbarian path of wild magic as soon as I get to the right level. Hannah sees this fit because, as mentioned before, we fairies are native to the Feywild, and the path of wild magic is the Barbarian primal path that is the most Fey-coded, if that makes sense. Also, like with most of the other fairies you've met, I am chaotic good. And my Fey characteristic is the fact that my ears are exceptionally large for a fairy. Now, my best ability score is my Constitution at 17, whereas my worst score is my Wisdom at 11. So I'm not great at the common sense thing. What's it to ya? Anyway, it was a pleasure, of course, but Tana really ought to wrap this video up. Tana! Okay, Thorn. Sheesh. For someone so small, he is really freaking aggressive. Guess I shouldn't be too surprised. He is a barbarian, after all. Anyway, and there we have it. Those were the D&D fairy characters that I've created, but have not played yet. If you liked this video and you want more, please consider leaving it a like and subscribing down below so you don't miss any new content from me. Also, if you have any ideas that you want to see in any future videos, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Who knows? It might just happen. Alright, well, that's all the time I have for this video, so I'll see you all next week, where I will introduce you all to my Harengon characters. See you guys then.